Okay, in this video, I'm going to explain how to approach the tool holder. I'm not going to explain how to draw the whole thing, but just to give you some ideas on how to draw the tool holder. The way I've done it, and there's many ways of doing this. I think by now you know that we can do that in several instances, is I'm going to draw a sketch with a back line like this. The length of this one is actually going to be 2 times 38. I'm going to draw a line here with 51 millimeters, a line here at 49 millimeters. I don't know the length of this line, and I don't know the length of this line other than the angles right in here and the 50 degrees. So technically speaking, you all should, by now, be able to figure out that it's going to be the 38, the 50 degree angle, 51 millimeters, 49, and the angle of 90 degrees, okay? Is it symmetrical? No. And the shape is actually going to be kind of like a line here to represent this edge over here, one along the bottom, one along this edge here. And I will tell you, this one is longer. And they're going to have a line here and then a line here. So it's kind of like a home plate looking thing, or maybe like a little house, however you want to picture that. But that is a shape that we're going to start with for this part. So let me go to Inventor. I'm going to go and create a new file. What kind of file is it? Is it English or metric? That's a question I've been getting a lot. Well, it depends. You need to look at this one. It specifically says metric. So in this case, it would be metric. If it doesn't say metric and the numbers are smaller, like 1, 2, or 3 inches, and these are millimeters, then it's going to be inches. But in this case, this one is specifically metric. So I am going to go to my metric template, and I'm going to go with a standard millimeter IPT, which is your Inventor part file. I'm going to start a new 2D sketch. I'm going to start on the XZ plane. I don't have to, but I choose to in this case, and I'm going to draw those lines that I just mentioned, roughly about 50 millimeters and 38 millimeters or so. So I'm going to go right about here, and it's about 51 millimeters. So I'm just going to, again, the sketch, it doesn't really matter. And a lot of you guys start going in here and typing in 51 and all that. You really don't want to do that. You want to just sketch it, más o menos, más o menos. So I'm just going to draw it. Another line here, another line across here, and then the one here and the one there. Notice I did not type in any numbers. It's literally just a sketch. And we always start with our geometry. I'm going to start with a coincident constraint here. I'm going to probably pick the midpoint. It doesn't have to be, but I do use the mid point a lot in sketches and geometric planes. So it's a personal preference. So I'm going to do a coincident constraint of that midpoint to the point right there. 5 dimensions. So I think geometrically, this is a real simple shape. It should keep the shape that I need. It's really just going to be those dimensions that I was talking about. Which 5? I'm going to guess that it's going to be the 5 that I'm going to guess is going to be the dimension of this line right in here, which is 2 times 38, the 51 millimeters. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3 for the 49 millimeters, 4 for the 90 degree. I'm not going to count this one because it's going to be already perpendicular. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. The other angle we're going to need for my 5th dimension on this one specifically is going to be the 50 degrees. Those will be the 5. I don't need this one because that one, again, will happen automatically with the way I sketched it. So let's see if that is the case. So my dimension is going to be this one here. It's going to be 38 millimeters times 2, because the way the handout is saying is that it's the radius of 38 millimeters. The radius is from the center to the edge, but I need it twice for the entire edge of the line. So that's going to be 38 times 2, check. This line over here is 51 millimeters, okay? This one is 49 millimeters, but it's along the line. It's parallel to it. So same thing, I'm going to select the line here for my dimension, but I'm not going to place it here with 49. That is actually incorrect. You don't want to do that, okay? So to get it to be aligned, you go click dimension, you're going to select the line, but then to align it with this line again, you go back and you re-click it again to get it to be 49 millimeters, okay? These need to be an angle of 90 degrees. So technically, I could actually put in a dimension between the two and place the 90 degrees, okay, right in there. I could do that, or another thing I can do is, don't forget, I can also use some geometry what geometric constraint? It actually would be perpendicular, because if this line and this line are perpendicular, it forms a 90-degree angle. Okay, I'm down to one dimension, and if I'm going to hit escape, how do I look for those dimensions? I just kind of drag things around. You notice this one I can't really move it anymore. This one I can, but it moves this thing up or down. And a lot of students start making stuff up. They start placing dimensions, and they make up numbers. Oh, but I guess it should be like 30 or something, mister, or something. But again, if it's not here, it should not be anywhere on your sketch. We need to get out of that habit. So what am I missing? That's the one that I was mentioning, is this 50-degree angle. The 50-degree angle is between the 51 millimeter, which is right in here, and the 49 millimeter line. That's where we need to have the 50-degree angle. So I'm going to dimension between this line and place this guy right here at 50 degrees. Okay, fully constrained, finish sketch. So then from here, I will then do my extrusion of this shape. Of the shape I'm going to start with, or not really start, I guess, how should I say this? The edge I'm going to start with is actually from this edge here. So it's kind of like, for me, in my mind, I'm going to extrude from this surface. That's where I have my sketch right now here. So I'm going to extrude this one up the 11 millimeters, and then that'll give me this general shape right in here. Okay. And then from here, I'll give you some ideas on how to do the rest of it. But I will tell you that this bottom part would actually be done with a sketch down in here. And then these other ones I'll explain in a little bit. Okay. So 11 millimeters. Got it. So right in here, I'm going to change this over to 11 millimeters. Got it. There it is. Okay. So that's kind of how I approach this tool holder to begin with. So then the other things that I can do, it doesn't really matter which order you go in, but what I would do is I would actually create a work plane. Sorry, I forgot. I forgot what that term was. A work plane along this edge at an angle of 55 degrees to then sketch this part, where I would sketch this line and this arc. I would sketch those all in one sketch, by the way, off of this one work plane, and then extrude that one 11 millimeters, like it says right here. And I would get this whole back feature, is what I would do on that back surface. So that's where I would create the work plane. I would create the work plane around edge from either this surface or this surface, doesn't really matter. I guess, let me see, 55 degrees would actually be from the bottom. So I guess from here and then this edge. And then that's where I would consider the 55 degrees um, right in here, which we would not put 55 degrees. Let me see. If I go from here, it's measuring from this surface. So I'd have to do the math to create this work plane. But again, I need you to do some thinking on your own to figure out how to do that. But nonetheless, I would create a work plane on this surface. Once I'm done with that one, on this surface here, on this surface right here, right on here, I would create a sketch. Once this part is done, once you have this little round feature right in here, I would create a sketch on this surface here to then sketch a triangle, or actually just a line from here to here for this line here, and then simply extrude it to get that part right in here, extrude 11 millimeters. I would do the same thing on this back surface over here. I would create that sketch so you can do this line and extrude it 11 millimeters. Okay, and then last but not least, this bottom part right in here. This bottom part right in here technically would actually be two lines, and that's it. So on that part, what I would do is down in here, I would sketch the two lines. Let me look at this part right again. Two lines, probably, I think it's going to be across here somewhere. But I would draw the two lines. I'm trying to see, but I think it will be a line here and somewhere here. It would just be those two lines, and then you would extrude that portion of it here to be able to get this bottom feature and then a hole, and you actually got it. Oh, and don't forget that these two are going to be done as part of the hole command. Stem, this guy right in here, and this guy right in here should be done as the hole command after the fact in 3D. Okay, you really shouldn't be drawing those as sketches and extruding them. It should actually be done as holes. Okay, so that's as far as I'm going to go. I think you don't need more of an explanation. Obviously, I'll be in class to help you guys out. But nonetheless, this is how we start the tool holder.